My name is Anna. I was born in a small town near Bata, Equatorial Guinea. Since I was a child, I always dreamed of working for my country. I loved numbers, solving problems, and I hated corruption. That's why, after I finished university in Malabo, I applied for a job at the National Financial Investigation Agency. I was very lucky. Out of many applicants, they chose me. I worked hard, stayed late, followed every rule, and made sure every investigation I handled was honest and fair. Soon, people started to notice me. Some said I was the best junior investigator they had ever worked with. After 2 years, I was promoted to senior investigator. I was proud. I thought my dreams were coming true, but everything changed one night. One evening, around 9:30 p.m., I received a call from Baltasar Ngonga, the head of the agency. I was surprised. He was the most powerful man in our department. I had only spoken to him once during a training session. He said, "Anna, I want to talk to you about a new position I have in mind for you. Come to my office tomorrow at 8 p.m. It's important. And come alone." I felt strange. Why at night? Why alone? But I didn't want to be rude or disrespectful. So I said, "Yes, sir. I will be there." The next evening, I went to his office. It was quiet. No one else was there. Baltasar was sitting behind his big desk, smiling. He didn't waste time. He started telling me how smart and beautiful I was. He said, "You can be the next director one day. But you need someone to guide you. Someone close." I was confused. I said, "Thank you, sir. But I believe my work will speak for me." Then, he stood up, came closer, and said softly, "I want us to be more than colleagues, Anna. Spend the night with me. Keep it between us. I can protect you, promote you, even send you abroad." I stepped back. My heart was beating fast. I didn't know what to say at first. But I finally replied, "I'm sorry, sir. I respect my job and I respect myself. I can't do this." His smile disappeared. His face changed. He said nothing for a moment. Then he turned away and said coldly, "You can go." From that night, everything changed. I was removed from important cases. My reports were returned with strange complaints. My name was no longer on promotion lists. Rumors started spreading that I was lazy and disobedient. I tried to stay strong. I kept working hard. But every week, something new would happen to push me down. One day, I found out that Baltasar had told senior officers that I was working with criminals and leaking information. It was a lie. A big one. But in our country, when powerful people speak, others listen. I was called in for a disciplinary meeting. They asked me strange questions. They didn't let me explain much. 2 days later, I received a letter: "You are dismissed from the National Financial Investigation Agency for misconduct and poor performance." Just like that, my career ended. After I was fired, many people stopped talking to me. Some were scared. Others believed the lies. I lost many friends. My family was disappointed, but they stood by me. I tried to fight back legally, but no lawyer wanted to take my case. Everyone said the same thing: Baltasar is too powerful. I thought of leaving the country. But I love Equatorial Guinea. I didn't want to run, so I started working as a financial consultant for small businesses. It wasn't easy, but it helped me survive. I know it's dangerous to speak the truth. But I also know many women and men face situations like mine in silence. I want them to know they're not alone. I didn't lose my job because I was bad at it. I lost it because I said a no to a powerful man who wanted to use me for his own desires. I don't regret it. I still believe in honesty, in justice, and in doing what's right. Maybe one day, things will change in our institutions. Maybe people like Baltasar will no longer have the power to destroy others. Until then, I will keep standing, keep working, and keep speaking the truth. After that first strange meeting with Baltasar Ngonga, I hoped he would leave me alone. I thought that by refusing him, he would understand that I was not interested. I just wanted to do my work and live a quiet life, but I was wrong. A few days later, I was in my office finishing a report when my desk phone rang. It was his voice again. "Anna, come to my office." Right now I felt nervous. I tried to make an excuse. "Sir, I'm still finishing the report." He cut me off. "Leave it. Come now. This is more important." I didn't want to go, but I also didn't want to lose my job. So I stood up, fixed my clothes, then walked slowly down the hallway to his private office on the top floor. When I entered, the room was quiet. He was sitting on his leather chair, looking at some papers. He didn't say anything at first. Then he told me to close the door. I obeyed. He stood up, walked toward me slowly, and said, "You look very beautiful today." I didn't answer. He came closer and said, "I've been thinking about you. You're not like the others. You're special." Then, without asking, he touched my arm gently and said, "Just one kiss, Anna. One kiss to prove there's something between us." I froze. I was afraid. My hands were shaking. I didn't know what to do. I didn't want to kiss him, but I was scared that if I didn't, he would fire me. So, for 1 second, I let him kiss me, a short kiss, but then he tried to put his arms around me. He tried to touch me more. That's when I pushed him away. "No, please," I said. "I don't want this. I'm not comfortable." His face changed immediately. His eyes became cold. "You let me kiss you. Now you act innocent. Don't play games, Anna." "I'm sorry," I said. "It was a mistake. I don't want anything personal with you." He was silent for a moment. Then he smiled, but it was not a kind smile. It was full of pride and power. "Go," he said. "We will talk later." From that day, Baltasar started playing a strange and cruel game with me. Every few days, he would call me into his office. Sometimes he said it was about work. Other times, he just wanted to talk. But every time I went, he would sit too close to me, touch my hand when I passed him a file. Ask me personal questions like, "Are you seeing someone?" Say things like, "You need a powerful man to protect you." I tried to avoid him. I started sending emails instead of going to his office. I worked extra hard to prove my value in other ways. I even started dressing more modestly, hoping he would lose interest, but he didn't. One evening, he called me again. "Anna, come to my house tonight. I want to discuss your future here." I was shocked. "Sir, I don't think that's appropriate," I replied. He laughed and said, "Don't be shy. I can make your future very bright. Or very dark." I hung up the phone. My heart was racing. I knew then that I couldn't take this anymore. The next day, I went to his office, stood at the door, and said clearly, "Sir, please stop calling me for personal reasons. I came to this agency to work, not to have a secret relationship." His smile disappeared. "You think you can tell me what to do? You're just a name on a file. I can erase you whenever I want." I left his office without saying anything else. After that, things became worse. My name was removed from projects I was leading. A junior employee was promoted above me. I was accused of being emotionally unstable. Colleagues began to distance themselves from me. Someone even stole my laptop and blamed it on me. Baltasar was slowly making my work life impossible. He didn't shout or hit. No, he used silence, lies, and small actions to push me out. Every time I spoke up, no one listened. Everyone was afraid of him. I started waking up at night, crying. I was scared, humiliated, and confused. Why did this happen to me? Just because I said no. One morning, I received a letter in an envelope, signed by Human Resources. It said I was being investigated for failure to follow ethical guidelines and poor performance. It was a complete lie. I had never broken any rules. I had always done my job. 2 weeks later, I was dismissed just like that. No hearing. No appeal. Just a letter and a security guard telling me to clean out my desk. I cried while packing my things. My colleagues looked at me with pity, but no one said anything. Now, I look back at that time and feel two things: pain because I was treated unfairly by a man who used his power to hurt me, but also pride because I never gave in. I never became one of the people who sleep their way to the top. I lost my job, yes. But I kept my dignity. I kept my self-respect. And that is something no man, not even someone like Baltasar Ngonga, can ever take from me. After I refused Baltasar Ngonga, my life at the National Financial Investigation Agency changed completely. I already told you how he began to make things harder for me, removing me from cases, spreading lies, then finally firing me. But there is another side to the story. A side many people don't talk about. The truth is, I was not the only woman Baltasar tried to control. I was not the only one he targeted. At first, I didn't notice anything. I was too focused on my own work. But after some time, I started seeing things, strange things. Some of my female colleagues, especially the younger ones, were always around Baltasar. They were in his office often. They stayed late even when their work was done. They wore expensive clothes, perfumes, and sometimes even jewelry I knew they couldn't afford on a normal government salary. One day, I asked one of the cleaning staff who worked late, why are these ladies always upstairs with Baltasar after office hours? She looked around to make sure no one was listening, then whispered, "Sister, they are not there to talk about work." I didn't want to believe it at first. I told myself maybe they were doing secret assignments or special tasks. But then I began seeing things with my own eyes. One evening, I stayed late at the office to finish some reports. I was walking down the hallway on the third floor when I turned the corner and froze. There, in the dark corner behind the emergency staircase, was Baltasar. He was standing very close to one of my colleagues, Maribel. Her hands were on his chest, and he was leaning in to kiss her. They didn't see me. I quickly turned and walked away before they noticed. My heart was beating fast. I sat at my desk, confused. I had worked with Maribel for over a year. She always acted like a quiet, professional woman. But now, I saw a different side of her. After that day, I began paying more attention. I noticed the way Maribel and others like her, including Carmen, Linda and Florencia, looked at Baltasar. Sometimes they laughed loudly at his jokes, even when they weren't funny. Other times, they would sit in his office for hours with the door half closed. I once walked past the lunchroom and heard them whispering. "He said he might send me to a seminar in Spain next month," said Carmen. "Lucky you. He only bought me a phone," Maribel replied. "Honor is so strange," Florencia added. "She always acts like she's better than us." They all laughed. I didn't say anything. I just kept walking. One afternoon, I was sitting outside on the bench near the parking lot. I had just come back from a stressful meeting. I needed air. Maribel came and sat beside me. She smiled and lit a cigarette. "Why do you always look so serious?" she asked. I didn't answer. She looked at me and said, "I know you don't like what's going on." I looked at her and said softly, "I just want to do my job." That's all. She took a long drag from her cigarette, then said something I will never forget. "Anna, you don't know what you want. You think you're too good. But in this agency, you must play the game if you want to survive." I turned to her and replied, "Maybe I don't want to play a dirty game. Maybe I just want to win by working hard and being honest." She laughed. "Then you'll be out soon." Trust me, she was right. In the months that followed, I began to understand the full picture. Baltasar was not just chasing one woman, he was building a web of women who did what he wanted. Some slept with him. Others flirted. Some just stayed quiet and accepted his offers, gifts, trips, promotions in exchange for loyalty. I even found out that one woman, Florencia, had been transferred to a big office in Bata not because of her experience, but because she was in a private relationship with Baltasar for over a year. Nobody ever said it out loud. But everyone knew those women received faster promotions, new cars through agency loans, trips to Europe for training, access to private government contracts, while women like me who refused were treated like trash. I began feeling isolated. Sometimes when I entered a room, people went silent. I could see them looking at me, whispering, "That's Anna." The one who said no to the director. Some women felt sorry for me, but they didn't say anything. Others thought I was stupid. One day, Linda came to me and said, "Why do you keep fighting? No one cares. Just accept reality." But I couldn't. Not because I thought I was better, but because I knew it was wrong to use your body for favors, wrong for a powerful man to control women through fear and gifts. Wrong to make the workplace feel like a secret bedroom. Our agency was supposed to investigate financial crimes. But the real crime was happening inside the building. How could we chase corruption outside when we were living in corruption every day? I used to be proud of my work. I wanted to serve my country. But now, every morning felt like walking into a battlefield where honesty had no weapons. Where silence was safer than truth, where being close to the director was more valuable than being good. At one evening, before I was finally fired, I received a message from a blocked number. It said, "You are being watched. Stay quiet, or things will get worse." I deleted it immediately, but I knew what it meant. After I was removed from the National Financial Investigation Agency, I felt like my whole world was broken. I had worked hard. I had done everything right. And still, I lost everything because I refused to be used by a man in power. For the first few weeks, I stayed home. I didn't want to see anyone. I didn't want to talk. I was ashamed, angry, and deeply hurt, but slowly, I began to rebuild my life. I started helping small businesses with financial planning. I gave advice to market women, shop owners, and taxi drivers. It wasn't the big government work I used to do, but it was honest work. And it gave me peace. I thought I was finally free from Baltasar's shadow, but I was wrong. One Sunday afternoon, I was at home, cooking rice and stew, when my phone buzzed. It was a strange number. I almost didn't answer, but something told me to pick up. I said, "Hello." A deep voice replied, "Anna, it's me." My heart froze. I knew that voice. It was Baltasar Ngonga. I didn't say anything. I just listened. "I've been thinking about you," he said. "You're not like the others. You have fire in you." "I like that." I stayed silent. "You left too quickly," he continued. "But I can fix everything. I can bring you back. Better position. Better salary. But you need to stop acting like a child." That last part made me angry. I said, "Is this why you called? To offer me a job in exchange for my body?" He laughed. "Don't be dramatic. You'll come back to me. You'll see." Then he hung up. After that call, I blocked the number and tried to forget about it. I didn't want anything to do with Baltasar or the agency anymore. I wanted peace, but he wasn't done. A few days later, I received a visit. It was Florencia, one of the women who used to be close to Baltasar inside the agency. She came to my small office pretending to want help with a business loan. But after a few minutes, she said, "I didn't come here for money, Anna. I came to talk about your future." I looked at her, confused. Then she leaned closer and said, "Baltasar wants you back. He says it's not too late. If you accept him, he'll fix everything." I was shocked. "You came all the way here to say this?" I asked. Florencia smiled sadly. "Look, Anna. I know you're proud. But sometimes, pride doesn't feed you. Don't be stupid. Do what the rest of us did." I stood up. "I'm not like the rest of you," I said firmly. "Please leave." She left quietly. But before she walked out the door, she turned around and said, "Baltasar wants you back. He says it's not too late. If you accept him, he'll fix everything." I was shocked. "You came all the way here to say this?" I asked. Florencia smiled sadly. "Look, Anna. I know you're proud. But sometimes, pride doesn't feed you. Don't be stupid. Do what the rest of us did." I stood up. "I'm not like the rest of you," I said firmly. "Please leave." She left quietly. But before she walked out the door, she turned around and said, "You'll regret this." He doesn't like being refused twice. Florencia wasn't the only one. Over the next few weeks, Carmen and even Maribel came to see me. One by one they all said the same thing in different ways. "Baltasar is offering you a second chance. You can have everything again. Don't be stubborn. Life is hard out here. We are not your enemies. We just understand how things work." One of them, Carmen, even tried to scare me. "You know he still has friends in high places. If you make him angry again, you might lose more than your job." I laughed. Even though I was scared inside, I said, "I already lost everything. There's nothing more he can take from me." I thought about it. Yes, I did. There were nights I couldn't sleep. I looked at my empty fridge, my broken shoes, my overdue bills. A small voice inside me said, "Maybe if you say yes just once, everything will get better." But another voice, stronger, clearer, said, "No. If you say yes now, you'll lose who you are forever." I remembered how dirty I felt when he tried to kiss me. I remembered the shame, the fear, the humiliation. I remembered how he treated me like a toy, not a human being. So I said no. One morning, I was on my way to a women's business workshop when I saw a black car following me. It parked near the market. Baltasar stepped out, wearing sunglasses and his usual expensive suit. He walked up to me in front of everyone and said, still walking around like a street girl, "You could be in an air-conditioned office right now." I looked him in the eyes and said loudly, "I'd rather walk on the street with pride than sit in your office as your puppet." People around us heard. Some laughed nervously. Others stared. Baltasar was embarrassed. He turned red. He leaned close and whispered, "You'll regret this." But I just smiled. "I already did," I replied. "When I ever trusted you after that day?" He never came back. No more calls. No more visits. No more messages from his women. Maybe he realized I would never be one of them. For many years Baltasar Ngonga lived like a king. He was the head of the National Financial Investigation Agency in Equatorial Guinea, and people feared him everywhere. He dressed in expensive suits. He drove the latest cars. He had a big house, bodyguards, and deep connections with the most powerful people in the government. But behind his power was a dark secret, a secret that finally exploded in November 2024. This is the story of how his hidden world of lies, affairs, and abuse was exposed to the entire country. It was the morning of November 13, 2024. I remember the date clearly because the country woke up to a storm, not of rain, but of shame. People all over Equatorial Guinea started receiving strange links on WhatsApp, Telegram, then Facebook. At first, no one believed it, but when they clicked the links, they saw something that shocked the entire nation. Videos. Dozens of them. Maybe more than 100 videos of Baltasar Ngonga in private hotel rooms, fancy apartments, and even inside his office with different women. Some of the women were clearly high class, wearing designer clothes and jewelry, but others were wives of government officials, secretaries, young staff, and even policewomen. The videos showed everything. Many of the women didn't seem happy. Some looked uncomfortable. Some were crying. Some were even arguing with him, accused of sleeping with over 200 women within 48 hours. The story exploded in national and international media. Headlines read, "Scandal in Equatorial Guinea, financial chief accused of sleeping with over 200 women, Baltasar Ngonga caught in leaked intimate videos, high officials' wives among victims of sexual manipulation." People started counting the women in the videos. Some even made lists. By the end of the week, news reporters claimed that Baltasar had slept with over 200 women, many of them married to powerful men, ministers, ambassadors, military generals, and even judges. Some names were leaked, families were destroyed, marriages ended. The country was on fire. The government went silent for 3 days. The government said nothing. The president didn't speak. The ministers didn't speak. The national television played cartoons and old music shows, trying to distract people, but the people refused to stay quiet. In markets, taxis, schools, and even churches, everyone was talking about one thing: Baltasar's videos. How the videos were leaked. No one knew for sure who leaked the videos. Some believed a disgruntled woman who had been blackmailed by Baltasar wanted revenge. Others believed one of the husbands of the women involved found the videos and exposed everything. There was also a rumor that a hacker had broken into Baltasar's private phone and computer and posted the videos online. Whoever it was, they brought down a man who thought he was a god. After the leak, something powerful happened. One by one, some of the women in the videos started to speak out. Many of them admitted they had been forced, manipulated or tricked by Baltasar. One woman, whose name was hidden for safety, said in an interview, "He promised me a government job. He said if I refused, he would destroy my family. I was scared. I didn't know what to do." Another woman said he gave me money, gifts, and trips. But he also threatened me. He said if I told anyone, no one would believe me. He was right. Until now, some women cried during interviews, some hid their faces, but all of them had one thing in common: they were victims of power, fear, and silence. When I first saw the videos, my hands were shaking. I didn't watch all of them. I couldn't. It made me sick, but deep inside, I felt something I hadn't felt in years. Justice for the first time. The truth about Baltasar was no longer hidden behind his expensive suits and powerful friends. The world could now see the monster behind the mask. Baltasar tries to deny everything. At first, Baltasar tried to act innocent. He released a statement: "These videos are fake. They are edited by enemies who want to destroy me," but no one believed him. The faces, voices, and rooms in the videos were too real. Some of the videos had agency stamps, hotel dates, and GPS data. Even his closest friends and political allies started to stay away from him. One of his longtime friends was quoted saying, "I warned him years ago to stop. He didn't listen." The most dangerous part for Baltasar was not the media but the fact that he had slept with the wives of powerful men: a minister's wife, a general's wife, a wealthy businessman's daughter, even the young wife of a judge. These men were humiliated, they were angry, and they were ready for revenge. It was no longer about women's rights or moral behavior. It became a war between men who lost their pride, and Baltasar was the target. Within 2 weeks he was suspended from the agency. His office was raided, his bank accounts were frozen, his phones were seized, his passport was taken. Every friend he had in government disappeared. No one wanted to be seen near him. The man who once sat at the top of the agency now sat alone in his mansion, surrounded by silence. But justice was just beginning. Many women filed official complaints. They demanded investigations. They wanted their names cleared, their dignity restored. Women's groups and NGOs began to speak louder. They held protests, wrote letters, made noise on radio and TV. For the first time in our country's history, a powerful man was being held accountable for using women for pleasure and power. Where was I in all this? I was no longer afraid. I spoke at a rally in Bata. I told my story on a community radio station. I said he tried to break me. He tried to make me feel small. But today, he is the one who has fallen. And the crowd clapped, some cried. I felt like my silence had finally ended. November 2024 was not just about leaked videos, it was about truth, pain, and the beginning of change. Baltasar Ngonga thought he could control women forever. But in the end, it was women who brought him down, with truth, with courage, and with unity.